Hey folks, in this video, we're going to be talking about how your church can effectively use social media instead of spamming people. So let's go. Hey folks, AJ the CEO here. If this is your first time stopping by the channel, thanks for stopping by. And on this channel, we focus on tips, training, strategies, reviews, and builds to help modernize your media ministry. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. And if you like what we're doing here, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com. Link is in the description. Now, I was trying to do something to not do clickbait, but to actually try and rattle you a little bit, because again, I am all about leveraging as much technology as possible for your ministry to reach and interact and impact people all over the world. And social media is a great way to do that. Did I just crack my voice? It's a great way to do that, but we need to be careful that we do not end up being like those folks who still put staple posters and stuff like that on light poles at stop signs and stuff like that. Spam. You're annoying people, and it's annoying, to be quite honest. We have to recognize that just because we have all these instruments that you can use, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all these other, well, I don't know if you can still use TikTok now, but anyway, the whole idea is we have all these tools that we can use, but recognize every tool has its place. You don't fix a bathroom with a mallet. You don't bust up concrete just with a mallet. You don't fix a computer with a mallet. You have different tools for different purposes. So again, don't consider this etched in stone. This is just how I'm using my stuff. So actually you can use kind of maybe get some inspiration from this. So first off, let's talk about YouTube. YouTube, to be quite honest, we live stream recently to YouTube, but that's not our primary focus. YouTube is more of a glorified search engine and honestly a backup location. Instead of us spending all this money on doing hard drives and storages and NASs and all this other stuff like that, we do use YouTube as a repository for our finished product, as in what is the final result of the sermon or of the song from the choir or from the dance ministry. And I say YouTube or Vimeo, whichever one. That's where I place everything. Now, because of how we did our live stream, our congregation mainly sees our stuff from Facebook. So yes, I'm leveraging YouTube to capture anybody else that might be doing that, or as an easier way of training our church to send for the older folks that have their kids or their grandkids, they can pull up our live stream on YouTube and then send it to their smart TV. That's why I do it on YouTube, because it's a lot easier to do that than Facebook, as well as for Vimeo, you can do it that way. But for me, I use YouTube as a repository of our videos to where it can live on, outlive our preachers, our ministers, whoever's preaching, outlive the choir, everything like that. We have tons of songs of people who have passed, but we're still able to experience and relive that, or relive them, or we can relive the message that was preached on YouTube. And as long as YouTube is in business, hey, that's good for that. Now, Facebook, we use Facebook dual purposes. We use that as our primary place to live stream just because that's where we trained everybody to go to initially. And almost everybody in our church is already on Facebook. So to go to a live stream, that was easier for them to do. Now, granted, again, like I said with YouTube, Facebook is not as user friendly with sending it to a TV. So most of the time, people who are watching our live stream are on a computer or a tablet. But you got to think, who sits there in front of their phone, tablet, or their computer? I mean, except for me or somebody who's working on your computer for long periods of time, which would be the length of a live stream. So you got to be mindful of that. But that's what we use that for. We also use that to communicate quick messages that we want to get to everybody, not private messages, as in stuff that's relative to church business or something like that. We don't use that for there. We send it out for as an easier way to communicate with people, because we don't have, to my knowledge, I don't have access to a very updated repository for everybody's telephone number, email addresses, and stuff like that, so we can communicate directly. That's what we have. So that's what we use our Facebook for. Twitter, we honestly don't use that as much, because it's not that I know the demographic at my church, and the majority of them do not use that. But so for right now, I use Twitter to echo and point to our website for anything. Out of all these platforms, everything, the hub of everything is our church website, because if everything goes down, everything is on our website, and I steer everybody back to that. Just know that basing off of what I'm talking about. Yes, I use YouTube. Yes, I use Facebook. I use all that. But everything always points back to home base, which is our church website. So like I said, Twitter, we use that mainly for just echoing other information in a short abridged version of what's going on, and with the main link pointing back to our website. Instagram is for moments, as in we don't use Instagram Live. We do more of like 30 seconds, or just mainly just a collage of pictures or moments of things that are going on. I actually handed that over to our youth for them to handle, but then, COVID hit, so we haven't really done much with that, and mainly just post pictures and things like that of events going on like that. And then if we did any live video, it would be short and abridged, kind of like, hey, go to our website, go to this place to catch more about what we're doing. I use that as a way to filter people, to bring them back on that, using that tool for that audience, which is normally, I don't want to get beat up in the comments for this, but this is a particular, I'll say it that way, it's a particular age range for people who's still on Instagram, so that reaches that generation. TikTok, we're still working with that, more of the younger generation, letting them handle that, and we're still working on that. But again, that would still be small snippets of what we're doing, almost kind of like what Instagram is, just because, but more catered to that platform. Now, again, like I said, we got a whole bunch of stuff about why you're using it or not. And honestly, the good thing is we just got it to secure our name, our digital handle across the board with everything. But again, because of all the stuff that's happened, we haven't really used it that much. I say all that to go through the platforms that we're using, mainly because we don't use them as a just throw mud against a wall. You got to recognize that there is a tool for each job. Our website is the home base for everything, but again, your website is predominantly for visitors. So that is the front page. That's what everybody sees. People who don't know nothing about you. That's like when you go and looking for a car. That's the information to get all the details about what this is. That's what our website is. The second layer under your website, not your home page, is where other people in your church get information, your events, your calendar events, online giving, live stream, all that stuff. That's how, but all of that sits there. And then all the other tools, your Facebook, your YouTube, your TikTok, your Twitter, your Instagram, they cater to certain different aspects of what's going on, but they always point back to home base. So I say all that to say don't spam, meaning that don't put annoying stuff on each platform just to wear people out, because if you do that too much, you're defeating the purpose, and it's not being informative, and it's not a platform to reach and interact with other people who are visiting your ministry or your members as a whole. Because if you annoy them, they're not even going to use those avenues anymore, and defeats the purpose. So again, you don't have to just because we have access to all these tools doesn't mean that you just regurgitate and throw everything exactly the same for each one. You pick a tool for the appropriate job it needs to be done. Again, for us, Facebook is where everybody is. That's when we try to build some excitement, recruit, and try and get more people informative about what we're doing, but point them back to our website. YouTube is a repository for, instead of us having to do all this other stuff with our hard drives and things, to put the final finished product, the edited product of our videos of all aspects of our ministry, not just our live stream, our sermons, our choir, our dances, our events, our highlight videos. Everything as a finished production thing is done on YouTube or Vimeo, depending on whichever one you want to do. We use Vimeo mainly for if we have copyrighted stuff that YouTube wouldn't like. We put that like mainly our dance ministry if they're dancing to music. We do it that way. And then Facebook is more about trying to garner more people to come in and go back to our website. TikTok, Instagram are more moment type of highlights of stuff like 30 seconds or less. Twitter is informational. And then there's so many other things, but those are the ones that we're using. So again, if there was anything I had to say, is just make sure that whatever you're doing, don't spam people, don't annoy people, because you will shoot yourself in the foot. If you wear out your welcome on these platforms, it will defeat the purpose, and then you'll be posting that stuff and no one's even going to be looking at it. So that's about it, folks. That's how I use social media. So again, just don't spam people. Use the tools wisely that we have, because if you do it wisely, you can reach way more people and it'll make your job easier instead of frustrate you. So that's about it. If you like this type of content, I appreciate a like, consider subscribing, and hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. And I want to thank the patrons who made this video possible. Their names are on the screen right now. And you too can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, where you help us minister and train other media ministries all over the world. This is AJ, folks. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next video later.